Hi, Sophie here with the Sims 4 PS4 build. Today is part 4, which is the coffee shop. So it's a very fast build and a very simple build as well, but one that I was really excited for because it was one of the first things that I knew I wanted and needed, because you can't go shopping without some coffee. Well, I can because I hate coffee, but most people say they can't. um, so I was just putting out little bits that were important as a starting block for the overall tone and feeling that I wanted for the coffee shop, which was coziness. I kind of wanted it to be similar to a lot of coffee shops that you do generally see out and about. And most of those places do have brown as like their base color because it's coffee and tea, and most things like that are brown. So I guess it's just a theme. So I didn't stray away from that today because I wanted it to feel very in keeping with the kind of feeling of going shopping. Um, and this is one of those staples. So all the colours that you see, it's just me trying to figure out how to make the doors and the windows all match colour wise and feeling wise. The ones I chose in the end, these arched ones, are one of my favourites. I like how big they are, and the archway just makes it feel very interesting to look at as well. Um, and the little bit on the bottom is very interesting to me. I just like the shape of them, but trying to figure out how many to have and like where to put them was really tricky because that just looked like too many for me personally. And it's just something I always struggle with, really, with building The Sims is window placement and how many and how big. So here I'm playing with the layout of the actual bar, which I wanted to keep a similar structure to a lot of coffee shops, which is you go in and you've got an area where you can look at food, and then you go around a kind of corner and then you pay for your food and your drinks. So I was trying to make that, as well as putting in a toilet, which was 100% needed and is 100% free for anybody to use, regardless of if they're buying a coffee or not. Um, so I just tried to figure out the best layout for where to position all of that stuff. So I ended up settling for this layout, which I think was the best kind of option. So the toilet's behind the bar area, and then enough room from where the door is to the coffee, and it feels very open and inviting there. The tricky thing with building cafes and retail centres in The Sims is, um, for a retail centre, if you're going to do a bakery or a cafe kind of place, you need um, a cooking area and you need people to bake and put goods out and sell them. But I didn't really want to bother with all of that here because it's quite a hassle. So I just put in the coffee bar, and then you just get a barista to work on that bar, um, which makes it a lot more simple. They can't sell the stuff you make, but I don't know. It's a mix, but it works for this build, I think. I like all the little bits that go on the wall here and the colours that I brought out. So I tried to keep to those brown and orange tones, kind of rust colours, to make it feel very typical coffee shop. So my favourite bit, I think, is the menu chalkboard, because if you look closely, the coffee cups have little smiling faces, and I just really like that a lot. And then I included these shelving units that have, well, what looks like vintage kind of um, coffee and tea making equipment. which could be real equipment if you wanted it to be, but yeah, I just like the look of how they look on the wall. The little tea rack is also really, really great. I really like that. As if you can buy like tea bags and things to take home with you, which is really sweet. I remember when I was building this one, I was listening to Sawbones at the time. I always listen to some kind of going back. Take two. I remember when I was building this at the time, I always listen to like podcasts or something in the background while I build. It just passes the time and I get to listen and learn a lot of stuff. So at the time of doing this one, I was listening to Sawbones, which is one of my favourite podcasts at the moment. And I remember it was the episode where Sydney and Justin talk about the birth of their first child, and it was a really great episode, and it was really sweet. And I just always remember when I look back at this, I just can remember what they were talking about and what they were saying, and just the kind of warm, fuzzy feeling. And yeah, I just really like that my memory works that way. I chose these orange chairs partly because they are one of my favourites from the Sims catalogue, but also because the orange is a really nice, vibrant colour alongside the brown. It like matches the tone, but also makes it feel a lot warmer and brighter, and just a bit more fun. The chairs themselves seem to have like a kind of industrial feel with the wood and the metal encasing the wood. So then to match that, the tables that I chose had a look that was a bit more distressed. So you can see little scuff marks on the coffee table, just to make it feel a bit lived in and not perfect. Quite inviting, really. I think you always have to have a couch area or two in a coffee shop, because you know that is the first place that you will try to get, even if you are one person. You'll always try and bagsy that comfy couch area. Those are the best kind of coffee shops. So it's just adding in the floor textures and the wall colors. I tried to keep the walls very simple and basic, um, so that it didn't overpower the the orange of the chairs, and they were kind of the staple color in the room. Um, I like the wood texture on the back wall. It's quite a nice little touch. I just like feature walls in builds. I think it makes it look a lot nicer and more thought out, I think. I tried to put in some curtains, but I just realised how ridiculous it felt. It felt too homey once you put curtains in. It just didn't make any sense. Um, so I just tried to stay simple because the walls were quite simple and it was fine. So I just put in a couple of prints that matched the rug, um, and didn't try to overdo the amount that was on the walls in that area as well. And then the toilets were, to be honest, a very, very quick build. A very quick, almost unthinking. um, I just kept it very similar to the room that I'd already done. Um, just kept it in keeping because it would be, I guess. Um, and so I just kept it very basic and put a little coffee cup picture in there and a little bit of plants or flowers, um, and that's all you really, really need. Because Sims don't take that well. They take quite a while in the toilet compared to reality, I think, but not in sim time. It's so confusing. I don't get sim time at all. Doesn't make any sense. So doing the outside area again, I just kept it very similar to the rest of the build. Just kept the colours very basic. Didn't try to do anything too fancy with it. Just a lot of wood and a lot of brown, and tried to keep it a bit more outdoorsy than the interior. So I didn't use the exact same chairs and tables, just because, you know, if it's outside, it's outside. The plants were a really great colour to match the interior, though. I like that a lot. So going into the reveal now, as I said, this is a really basic build, with very basic colours and not a lot going on, but I still quite like it. I like the way it feels very warm. I think that the neutrals and the orange mix together to make it feel very cozy and nice. Um, it does emulate, I think, a lot of coffee shop feelings, but also has a little bit of difference to it as well. I like the community board as a particular part of it, because I wanted the whole shopping centre to feel very community focused, and not too corporate, but it does have those kind of big coffee shop vibes to it too. So that was the coffee shop build. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for part 5 when we do the plant shop. And thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.